Hi everyone. Thank you for your attendance. So a dive into Metaverse. Let's just kick it off. We'll start with a brief intro of our panelists, and maybe Joaquim, would you like to start? Just tell us who you are and what your project or company is doing in Metaverse.
Okay. Hello, my name is Joaquim. I've been full-time in crypto for the last 6 years. I have advised luxury companies with more than 10 billion euros turnover, advised international museums and governments in their first crypto steps. So I am also an NFT holder of the biggest NFT communities. And speaking more about Metaverse, I own land in the 5 top Metaverses, Spatial, Decentraland, The Sandbox, Helix, and the other side from Yuga Labs. Right now, I am an advisor of Algoritcom. It's a really young team of entrepreneurs. We are creating an ultra-realistic digital space for brands. Yeah,
Thank you. Narek, please.
Yes, my name is Narek. I'm the CEO and founder of Blocked, which is a blockchain social media platform aimed to get rid of and solve the problems of current Web 2 social media platforms out there. We've incorporated quite a few things that are different. One is you utilize a wallet as your identity instead of having a username or password. And the second biggest thing is that we have a tokenized gate system for communities in DeFi. We really harness the power of the blockchain to offer security and verification of users.
Okay, thank you. And Pedro, lastly,
yes.
Please.
Thank you, Cristina. Thank you, everyone. So my name is Pedro. I'm a technologist. I work for Richemont Group. Richemont is a luxury group with brands such as Cartier or Montblanc or Piaget. Probably that rings more the bell. I'm responsible for Web3 and technology innovation for the group and part of the blockchain initiative since we started 5 years ago. So I would say quite early for our industry. We were the first one creating a digital certificate of authenticity based on blockchain, based on an NFT for a physical product, for a luxury physical product, for a watch with our brand Vacheron Constantin. And very happy to be here and to discuss with you about what is Metaverse and what it means for everyone.
Yeah, thank you, because you've just said things very easy for me now. So first question, as you could imagine, is about what is Metaverse or a Metaverse. And I would also like to expand the discussion and please ask you if you consider that the concept of Metaverse implies centralization or decentralization. So I don't know who would like to start answering this question. Maybe Pedro.
I can start, why not? So for me, the Metaverse is an experiential layer. We see a lot of different tools called Metaverse, and I think we are trying to explore and to develop what is a Metaverse collectively. So for me, I prefer to go back to the conceptual definition. It's an experiential layer. It's a mean that allow us to interact with other peers, with brands, with institutions digitally. And I think it means a very different thing for everyone. Talking about decentralization, I don't think it implies decentralization. We have Second Life, we have way earlier experiments on that. But in my opinion, the intersection between Web3 and the Metaverse is what really creates something unique. It's like a core mass that brings the impact to grow exponentially. So because we are adding to the Metaverse concept, the concept of ownership, of true ownership, right? So I would say it's for me is that, and it's going to be a challenge in my opinion, because we are moving towards a context where we need a lot of hyper-personalization. It's a mean to provide or a platform for self-expression, the same way that we express ourselves in the real world. So I would say it like that. I wouldn't say if one or another tool is a metaverse or not.
That's interesting. I would say that the discussion sits on whether metaverse is about Web3 and ownership and liquid democracy and decentralization, or whether we can have metaverses that are centralized even though we don't have ownership, like so. No. What do you think about it, Narek?
I think currently what everyone thinks about metaverse is being developed in the decentralized fashion, but centralization will come, I think, to it on a very small scale, and it'll be adoption from what decentralized has created. And that's just the pattern that centralized authorities, or just centralization, takes even in the current world.
So maybe Web3 is like setting the path, and then centralized structures like maybe your group will come in and just either copy those sort of business models, or either just get themselves inside something like Decentraland?
Well, decentralization is essentially the place where you're going to attempt and try all the innovations and everything, and you're going to fail a lot. Centralization is the point where they've seen what works and they adopt it. You know, so that's just what I see as the difference between decentralization and centralized. Centralized will eventually adopt what works in decentralized areas.
Nice theory. I hadn't heard that one. Nice theory. What about you, Joaquim?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to give a different explanation for metaverse. I would say, my own opinion, is that our life is full of digital objects. And for me, the metaverse is going to be the visualization of those digital objects that in the future they're going to be, all of them, NFTs. So that's my own explanation for metaverse.
Okay, so just like a front end for the visualization of NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you would link more with Pedro, like metaverses require a different technology like the NFT one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice,
Yes.
nice. Each one of you has one different approach to metaverse.
And wait, regarding centralization and decentralization, this is like a big discussion, right? But it depends on the use that you want to give to the metaverse. For example, you have a spatial that it's completely centralized, and it is very useful for companies like setting up meetings and stuff. But you can also own the NFT on OpenSea of the configuration of the space. On the other side, you have Decentraland, that it is, I would say it is like the most decentralized metaverse out there. But you have inconvenience because sometimes you wanna build something, and someone is building something really weird next to you, and it can screw your business as well. So I believe that everything starts with centralization, and slow they have to getting decentralized with the pass of the time.
Okay, so adoption will go to decentralization. Okay, nice. Now, one thing that has worried us, or at least some of us, for some time now, about metaverses and decentralized metaverses that are based on blockchain technology, has been user experience. So I wanted to ask you, do you believe that decentralized or blockchain-based metaverses require different skills in order to use them or live inside them? And in this sense, will metaverses create new job positions with these new skills, or can anyone with traditional skills enter this new world in like a professional manner?
I think the biggest problem right now is the fact that people are talking about going from what we have today, which is Web 2, and jumping directly into decentralization without there being some sort of bridge. And that does cause a problem for old developers or Web 2 developers. But I want them to know that there is a space for that, because you have to be able to incorporate the technologies that work today to be able to build a foundation that works for tomorrow. So I do think that the developers not necessarily will create new jobs, but the developers that are full stack today will be even more full stack a year or two from now, because they'll add, either Solidity or Rust to their skill set. But I'm not sure if it'll create more jobs. There's already a lot of tech jobs that aren't filled. But I do think that a lot more job openings will happen within just the blockchain environment.
So maybe not new positions, but like the evolution of the skills of the current ones.
Right. Yeah. There has to be some form of incorporating what works today into what we want to work tomorrow.
Nice. It works for lawyers too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the positions will change. I think we will see jobs that today they are not in the market, and absolutely it's going to change. For me, one of the things, and I when the previous speaker was presenting the metaverse, he spoke about the storytelling. At the end, we all engage with the stories, and stories are the way to connect. Even when we interact in the physical world, when we hang out or at the work, someone tell us something, and it's a way to connect. So, storytellers, how many storytellers jobs can you see on the market today? I think that will be one of the types of job that will increase dramatically. And I agree with you in the fact that we see like the end game. We are looking at the end game, and we are not looking at how to bridge from today to tomorrow. And that happens that when in my case, when I meet with companies trying to develop a new product and so on, sometimes it's difficult to make that connection, because they are so far ahead that is not possible for me to see the way to implement, and so we need to transition, because we need to be realistic here. The majority of the people that lives in the world today don't care about blockchain or Web3. What they care is about, I want to purchase a new clothes, I'm going to hang out with my friends or whatever. So we need to find a way to reduce the friction and make that bridge, for sure.
Yeah, totally. Joaquim?
Yeah, I think there is like, we all know that there is a big gap between Web 2 and Web 3. And we as crypto native, we have to focus much more on mass adoption, on education. Big companies like MetaMask, Binance, companies like that, they're giving Web 3 free education, because nobody has to pay for that, for learning that. And that's super important if we really need mass adoption, and we have to simplify things. And a better user interface, and so this is really needed. Not that much. Like yesterday I listened to someone, and he was talking about $1 trillion. I mean that the Metaverse is like $1 trillion opportunity. And I was thinking about, like, first we need to educate everyone in order to get money. I mean, Web3 is not about earning a lot of money, it's about property. And if the people doesn't get it, the people will keep trying to get money, like Web 2. Web 2, everyone steps on each other, and Web 3 is like a new kind of economy. It's a collaborative economy. So let's just focus on education and onboarding new people instead of getting money.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. In fact, as I believe it so much that I've been writing a blog in Spanish for like 2 years now, and where I just simplify crypto stuff and in very like plain Spanish. And in these 2 years, we've got like 15,000 subscribers, and it's for free. I mean, I always believed that the good information or the good formation for crypto should be for free if we want mass adoption. So it's for free, no? So, and that, I'm telling this because we have like 15K subscribers, because there is a lot of interest from people to learn about things. So if we could actually educate them more and foster this education, maybe we could accelerate that sort of adoption. Okay. For mass adoption, there is something else that constitutes a key ingredient, which is regulation. I wanted to ask you, as people who participate in this metaverse or metaverses, what is your opinion on regulation? So, do we need new regulations? Do we need no regulation at all? Is the regulation that we have in place now enough? And another question, which is, does new tech mean new law? I'm a lawyer, and I am very curious about, are you being advised by traditional lawyers or lawyers who have done a new sort of approach, tech-based, on your projects? Maybe we can start by you now.
Okay.
You can be crypto-anarchist, if you want.
Okay, let me think. There was a lot of questions there.
Okay. Maybe Pedro, if you...
I can start if you want. So I totally agree. I would say that personally, one of the conversations I like the most in my job is with the lawyers. Because you have a very interesting way of looking at things, but also very constructive and in general very forward thinking. Let's say that I discuss with both types, lawyers that come from a new, fresh approach, and the others that are trying to make sense of what's going on. And I would say we need both, because we need the link with what is happening today as well, but we need to look to tomorrow. And as much as I would like to say, you know, everyone can do whatever they want, that would be the ideal thing, I think we need regulations. And a good example we have in big tech and in social networks. I think that caught us by surprise to the whole society. And we all know and are aware of the different issues around privacy, about data processing, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to mention them again. And as a society, we have been playing catch-up since then, always. They are always ahead. So let's try not to make the same mistake. Now we are aware that technology can disrupt our society, and I think law is one of the key pillars that we need to take into consideration. So
tech
people like
travels
you,
faster than law.
Yeah, exactly.
That's been going on forever, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, we need people like you to help society figure out and you know, bring something that guarantees everything that we are discussing these days. You know, integrity, diversity, inclusivity, privacy.
And maybe to prevent things like the ones happening now currently in the US.
Exactly.
But also in Spain, I mean, it's full of Ponzi schemes, structures going on, and nobody is doing anything. I mean, we really need law in order to protect the retail and people that is not very well knowledge, has a lot of knowledge with crypto, and they're getting wrecked, and nobody's doing anything because it's crypto. You know, I went to the police station once because I got those like bitcoins kidnapped since 4 years ago, and I went there and I said, okay, how is my case going? And they were like, oh, is Bitcoin? It doesn't exist. Like, what do you mean it doesn't exist? So
you put money.
So we really need to get protected. Law needs to advance, because I know that tech is going faster, as you said, that the law, but we need some kind of protection for average users.
Maybe I would say that law has 2 steps. The first one is just establishing a framework, and then comes enforcement. So I think that maybe what you mean is that we do have the law, but what we need now, in Spain at least, is like more enforcement, more taking that law to reality and saying, because criminal code is already there and it's been there for years, but we may need more enforcement, not so much as in the US, but we may need some enforcement by now. Maybe Narek, what's your vision on this?
I was just in there thinking about regulation, and I think for the metaverse, it's going to be different kinds of regulation, because you know, I think the more we adventure into metaverse, the more will come up with other ideas that maybe don't involve tokenization but still involve the blockchain. So if it doesn't have some kind of tokenization to it, there's no financial risk behind it, and those can be a different set of laws. Something like a game rating or something like they do for video games, like mature or for everyone. So I think it's, we're still open to see where the regulation can come in from there, but I think it's really important to work with lawyers, whether they understand blockchain or not, is because we educate them as much as they educate us, so like for example, we're working with a lawyer in Cyprus, and she's an amazing lawyer. She understands the law to the T, but not as much when it comes to what's going on in the crypto world. So we have to educate her a little bit on the things, make her understand how the things work, so she knows what, I guess, legislation to go after or where to apply regulation.
Yeah, that's nice, because I used to remember these sort of events like 7 years ago where lawyers were not accepted in any place, so I like this has evolved. So last question before we give the audience the opportunity to ask us questions. I would say, where do you see Metaverse or Metaverses in the short midterm, so like in 5 years' time? And would you also please tell me what's your opinion on, is this something just for younger generations? Because I keep hearing this idea of metaverses are for Gen Z and it's only for like our next generations. Is this something you feel as well, or do you have a different opinion?
I think millennials are the best choice for metaverse and everything blockchain and crypto related right now. Because naturally millennials are anarchists. We've been through both sides of the generation where we've grew up without things, and then we grew up understanding things, and we're open to learn new things, whereas the generation before us really didn't have that opportunity. Generation after us was born into that already. So for them, technology is just technology, I feel like. I really think that the millennials will benefit the most, but also be more in the industry than anyone else.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't have a crystal ball, but I always explain it like this way. Maybe, okay, right now we have our phones in our hands like maybe 5, 6, 7 hours per day, and every time it's getting worse and worse. We keep changing from applications. I mean, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, phone call, pictures, like we keep changing all the time. And I believe that the metaverse in, I don't know, maybe 5, 10 years, I don't know, is gonna help us with this situation. It doesn't mean we're gonna be with the glasses or the contact lens or with this device, nobody knows, a lot of time every day, but it's gonna like compress all this time that we are spending in so many different applications, and we're gonna be doing all those things in one big space, and that's gonna be the metaverse.
Interesting. What do you think about it?
I am very much aligned with that view. I think today our technology ecosystem is overcrowded, and it's very difficult to keep up. We have probably each one of us at least 4 or 5 messaging applications, only for messaging, right, for texting. So I'm fully aligned. However, I'd say that it's going to be a combination. There's going to be some kind of personalization. I go back to the topic of hyper-personalization and self-expression. I think younger generations definitely are more prone to use it, but also in a different way. There's going to be generational segregation, but at the same time, think that each one of us, we in the real world, we dress in a specific way, we behave in a specific way, we talk in a specific way, and it's based on how we feel ourselves and how we want to, we project us in front of, and we don't do the same depending on the context where we are. I think the metaverse is going to be the same, and it's going to answer to all these needs, to all these likes, and I think each one of us like to do different things. We don't focus on a specific thing. So yes, some kind of consolidation, but at the same time we will have a lot more choices to hang out and to interact with friends and with peers.
I think right now the metaverse is very technical for the normal person. So like he was mentioning earlier, we have all these different apps. In the future, the metaverse is going to be essentially like that, where everyone uses their own portion of the metaverse or their own app that has the customization to what their needs are and what they like. So we're right now throwing all metaverse in one category, which is fine because it is very technical right now, and the normal person doesn't understand or get excited as much for code like we do as developers. But as the years go on and as we get more creative people in the industry and more designers, we'll be able to have that, that what everybody's need is essentially covered.
Yeah, so basically we have the foundation. We now need storytellers to get to where Joaquim said we may reach in 5-10 years time. Nice. Should we give the audience, does anyone have any question? If nobody has a question, I can throw a last one. We've got 4 minutes left. Oh.
Hi there. Thank you for these brilliant insights. One of the questions is, what are the key use cases that you've identified for the metaverse?
Well, that's a good question. I would say it depends. You know, in the industry I work for, definitely is customer engagement. It's a way to tell the story of brands and companies, to extend that story to a new channel, right? If I would say more on a personal dimension, I would say something immersive. You know, I've tested a lot of metaverses or virtual platforms. I would say that for me, the ones that are more immersive are the ones with VR, but at the same time, I don't see that scalable. I think that's cumbersome. So it's difficult to say at the moment. I would say that engagement, something that engages the person and that keeps the person in that metaverse. Yeah.
I think one of the best things that we can use it for, and it's already being used in other applications like the Oculus, like the headsets, is having like international meetings. You know, right now it looks terrible, right? But the foundation is there. And I think we can have it, like he was saying, in a more immersive way where you feel as if everyone is there. You know, it's not this kind of disconnected, one at a time talking or taking notes. It's more of you feel like the whole team is there with you, regardless of where they are in the world.
I've seen Accenture and Boston Consulting Group's small teams having regular meetings in Spatial as a normal thing every day. So that's an actual real case that I've been experiencing.
I will only add, from our experience at our law firm, that there is a very good use case in gaming and the designing of different incentives that we've been traditionally been seeing.
My problem with incentives is that now you're facing regulation because of incentives.
Yeah.
You know, that's literally what they're...
Is that a problem?
It's not a problem for us. It's a problem for them because they want to know everything, you know? So my idea, like I was saying, is having a form of metaverse where it's not tokenized. It uses the blockchain. It has some form of entry points or security points that utilize the blockchain for verification and security, but it's not tokenized in the way of the incentives don't come from just nowhere, right?
Yeah, I totally understand your point. Maybe the answer comes more from a legal perspective, so I will leave it there. But the use case, it's like obvious. So it's attracting a lot of attention. At least here in Spain, use cases with like the undead, you know, GameFi and these sort of things. Even if it's regulated, I would say yeah. Any other questions?
Well, I would like to add something.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Regarding the use case. I've been in like 2 different concerts where if you attend, you get a POAP. It means a proof of attendance protocol. And with this POAP, you can get a discount on future concerts of the artist. So that's an actual interesting real case, and it's
Fun
happening.
engagement.
Yeah. So.
Good morning, and thank you for your presentation. I have a question about the uploading of the environment. The examples that I know so far regarding Web3 or Metaverse, there's an environment that is created by someone else, and we are living in that environment. How will this environment be replaced or updated in order for us to are always living in an updated environment?
So I think I understood the question. Yeah, it's like, so will like metaverses get constantly updated? So, you know, like Decentraland, it was like just a bare space that you could build upon. So I think she's asking about, will we keep seeing metaverses that get updated? I am going to answer first with your permission. I wouldn't say we will see metaverses getting updated, but we are going to see constantly evolution on metaverses that have the more of the users. Because especially if they are like decentralized or Web3, where you just get in with your wallet and you can simply purchase a parcel of land and build whatever you want. So if those get traction, of course, if you get in like today and then get back tomorrow, it may be totally different.
Okay, thank you.
I think one thing that's critical in all of crypto and blockchain is listening to your community, because they're the ones that use the thing that you're creating. And a lot of times developers are not they're not business people. They just do the code, they understand what they're doing, but they don't really understand the relationship part of things, which we've all probably been a victim of that before. But you know, I think it's critical to listen to what your fan base is saying and tailor it to, besides having your own values, tailor the experience to what they want, because they're the ones using it at the end of the day.
This is basic.
I would add to that. That for me, you touch again the concept of hyper-personalization. You know, we want something that really speaks to each one of us. And I don't see the current way of building these tools keeping up with that. So one of the gentlemen from the previous session said, if you want to build something and you want to put AI, don't do it. I would say the opposite. I would say actually that's one of these use cases, in my opinion, where AI can help to really keep up with the pace, because humans are going to struggle doing that, developers.
Okay, so time's up. Thank you guys. It's been super interesting to moderate this panel. Thank you for the organization, and thank you for attending, of course. I'm sure you're hungry, so let's have lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.